And Tareq Azzoum, who joins us from Rasheed Road in Gaza, just south of the Netzarim corridor, where there's just been a shooting. Tareq, what more information do you have on this?
Well, we were in the closest point to Netzarim corridor where we used to report, and suddenly the Israeli military opened fire against civilians who were gathering in that very close point to the corridor. Many of civilians have started to return back again to their temporary shelters in the central areas and also in the south. Others are still remaining in the area. They have no choice but they're waiting to return back to their houses. Everyone was in a state of shock and fear that the Israeli military had opened fire against them, which considered to be a violation of the ceasefire agreement, especially that no one has crossed has crossed through the Netzarim corridor, but everybody was stationed a bit far away as they were waiting for an approval in order to access northern Gaza. Everyone understands also that the possibility to access northern Gaza will increase tomorrow, especially that there have been many municipal vehicles, civil defense cars, and also different medical teams who were waiting on standby in order to deal with any urgent cases. So apparently the sound of the drones was also very remarkable in the area. It could be clearly overheard. The Israeli naval warships were edging closer to the beach of Gaza, and the civilians just only waiting for a permission to return back. But at the moment, what I can see on the ground is that they started to return back again to their shelters, waiting as they will try again tomorrow in order to access northern Gaza. And there has been a growing fear that they won't be able to access northern Gaza again if Israel did not withdraw from the corridor and allow for civilians to freely flow to the north of the Strip, where the houses exist and live to.
Tareq, did I understand you correctly that you were saying the warships are closer? Is this just in the last hour or so, or were you referring in general? And also, did I understand from you that you were saying this shooting, I mean, do we know, has anyone been injured or hurt?
No, we did not really see anybody injured, especially that we were all in a state of chaos as we tried to take cover from the Israeli shooting. And we have seen also naval warships getting closer to the beach, not just only in the course of the past few hours, but also in the time of the attack. Also, the drones were heard. It seems that they are trying to give a sign that this area is still under Israeli military control, and yet it's not the time for Gazans to return back to their houses. As I'm talking to you right now, I can see in front of my eyes, people are taking their personal belongings, walking on foot back again miles to their temporary shelters. And also civil defense cars are trying to be on standby in the area. Everybody just waiting to access northern Gaza, but it did not happen today. And families say that we will come back again to this area tomorrow in hope that we will reach northern Gaza.
Yeah, and just hold that thought, because what the pictures that we're seeing, that we're running at the moment, is of people hiding, Palestinians ducking down. You can see clearly some of them holding bedding, mattresses, all of those, as you mentioned earlier, that were looking to move to the north of the Gaza Strip. They've been waiting as part of this deal to be able to go. Tareq, can you explain to us why they have been waiting and why that hasn't happened yet?
Well, it's completely known for everyone that based on the terms agreement, once the implementation of the second release of the Israeli hostages just took place successfully, Palestinians will start to gradually return back to their houses in northern Gaza. These people have been displaced for more than just 2 months. They have witnessed different sorts of psychological and physical pain, and they have been enduring unrelenting parts of the genocide in order to return back again to their houses. And this is the day that is supposed to be the time when civilians started to return back to their homes. But the Ministry of Interior and National Security has stated that we will allow for civilians to return back to northern Gaza from Sunday morning. But the question remains that if Israel will allow for civilians to return back, or they will impose more restrictions, especially that the civilians will go through military checkpoints where people or pedestrians will not be inspected by the military, but cars and vehicles will be inspected by foreign security companies. That's what we understand based on the terms of agreement. And the next 24 hours will be absolutely critical in order to shade the scene and the possibility for civilians to access northern Gaza or not. And that is the practical fear, that civilians are afraid to be shot as they are trying to access northern Gaza, which could be a sign of the fragility of the ceasefire agreement. But let's wait more to see what the next 24 hours will hold for Palestinians.
And of course, as you were saying, a very sensitive time, certainly for the Palestinians. I think I may be hearing those drones above you. So you were saying drones hovering in the sky, it seems Israeli drones, a tightening, if you like, perhaps a message from Israel because they've been unhappy about one captive that they wanted released. What was Hamas's response to that request, or why they didn't release what Israel says is a female civilian captive?
Well, it's still very unclear whether this captive is with Hamas or not, but we understand that the Palestinian Islamic Jihad has said that the female captive is in their captivity, and it's scheduled to be released in the coming weeks and in the coming rounds of release of Israeli captives. The idea is that the Israeli military is systematically trying to delay the return of displaced people to northern Gaza. The release and the success of the delivery and the exchange process of the prisoners today could be a sign of how strong is the durability of the ceasefire agreement. But at the same time, inserting and putting obstacles in the path of the peace and the ceasefire agreement will be a challenge later to be handled. And people believe that this has been an additional condition put by Israel, but we did not yet receive any confirmation from Hamas regarding the fate of that female captive. And at the same time, we are waiting to see if this captive will be released within the coming days as an exceptional development or not.
Okay, thank you very much, Tareq. We'll be obviously following that. Just make sure that you try and stay safe, you and your team, as much as you can.